Virgin plastic bottle. Crumples like a bitch. Stays in the ocean for thousands of years. Makes annoying crinkling sound. Is only recyclable a few times. Becomes useless when broken. Chad glass bottle. Is sturdy. Only stays in the ocean for like 50 years. Makes cool whistling sound. Is infinitely recyclable. Becomes epic weapon when broken. Is also musical instrument. Better than recyclable. If the right systems are in place, a glass bottle can be sterilized and reused, which uses less resources than recycling. We seem to have forgotten the old sustainability slogan I was taught as a kid in the 90s, which is reduce, reuse, recycle. And that's the preferential order. We should be reducing first, then reusing what we can, and recycling should be a distant third option. But capitalism can only make money from the recycling part. Post this hamster. Where to, boss? Hamsterdam. Little guy crawls into the tube. He's a little cozy in there. And whoop, off he goes. Luft Hamster. There's no fucking better way zum flying. Content. There's no fucking better way zum flying. Dude, this is random, but my mom works at a credit union, and a while ago this totally domestic collared dog came up to their door and was barking to get in. It's a small credit union, so they brought the dog inside to keep it safe while they got in contact with the owner. Anyway, the owner showed up, looking haggard, and was like, "Yeah, she keeps managing to get loose. I'm surprised she came here. She usually goes to Wells Fargo." And my mom was like, "What?" And the dog owner was like, "Yeah, ever since she started getting loose, she always goes to banks. We can't figure out why." Anyway, the dog is fine, and they're gonna crate train her or something. But how bananas fucking wild is it that this dog escaped multiple times specifically to go to the bank? What the fuck? They needed to make a deposit. My mom says, never put anything in an email that you wouldn't want on the front page of the newspaper. Age-old advice which is more relevant nowadays rather than less. This is the second iteration of it though. The original version is, never write anything in a letter you wouldn't want to see in print. Advice handed down by my mother from her forebears. From the IT department, we archive everything. And Outlook autosaves every couple seconds. I've never understood live fast and die young mentalities, mostly because I've met a bunch of old people who never stopped living fast. Why try to die young when you can be an old man at a rave? The world needs more old women in denim dresses doing shots at the family picnic. You'd deprive us all of that? You just let your chaotic personality go to waste? I just can't wrap my head around that. You've got to think long term. When I'm a fat old man, I'm gonna start wearing a wizard hat and collect vaguely orb-shaped paperweights. Live fast, die old, surrounded by weird stuff from the experiences that brought you joy. I love seeing Cardinals and Blue Jays together. I'm always like, heh, evil siblings. This is what I'm all about, baby! They're not even related. Jays are a type of corvid like crows and magpies, and cardinals are a grosbeak. Well, you see, they are both birds, and they both have fun hats. Hope this helps. This is how you win the Tumblr post. If I wrote a dystopian novel where the corrupt, evil mega-corporation that controls society has a fucking smirk for a logo, my editor would tell me to use a less heavy-handed metaphor. And yet, I love this because if I were to write a literary novel in the Western canon that described the image of an apple with a chunk bitten off, any high school English student would tell you it is a Bible reference meant to represent the source of all evil and downfall of humanity. And yet, alright, if y'all are so smart, what's the evil symbolism behind this? It's loss. No, it's about a voyeur who is always watching you through the windows. My advice to kids on the internet is don't get too attached to your username, and absolutely do not blend your offline life with your online presence. You do not want your future self to have any connection to the stuff you are saying and doing right now. You don't have the privilege of every embarrassing thing you said being lost to a defunct BB Code forum like my generation did. Please, please leave yourself the opportunity for a clean slate. You'll thank yourself later. By the way, this post is just as much about online safety and protecting yourself from stalkers and employers as it is being able to distance yourself from kin drama and ship wars when you realize the absurdity of it all. Okay, new cleaning strategy. Bad at self-discipline, good at acts of love through service. So I'm gonna clean my house, pretending it is the house of someone I love who's been too depressed to clean. She's gonna be so surprised. I cleared the whole counter that hasn't had space to set a plate down in weeks at least, so it would be easier for her to cook instead of just eating snacks. I put away everything on the sofa that wasn't a blanket or stuffed animal so she could stretch out if she wanted. I swept, and everything looks less lighter and less grungy. There were a bunch of sewing pins spilled to one side of the coffee table that I still hadn't picked up because whatever, I'll get to it. Nobody ever walks on that side of the table anyway. But I picked them up because I was worried about her feet. I should be a good friend to myself more often. Students, don't be afraid of asking questions. Why didn't you pay attention? Paying attention. Explaining it badly. This is an extremely good joke format. I wish I knew how to play chess. This meme being funny, not understanding chess. I needed this. I understand chess, and oh my god, can this be a meme format? Cause there are so many possible combinations here. Non-chess players. What are you two fucking talking about? Me. If I become the evil overlord, I will never harm my minions. 5 years later, highly throwable imp. Hoo hoo hee. Me. The imp wants to be thrown. Throw the imp. Consider, it's enrichment for them. You ever thrown a little kid repeatedly into a couch or a bed or trampoline and become cooler than God to them? No, it's fine. They like being thrown. It's perfectly reasonable to toss around some of your minions, but after a certain percentage of your own minions destroyed, it's just fiscally irresponsible. Just checking in with the Chuckable Imp Union, how's negotiations going? It's really up in the air right now. The subject just keeps getting tossed back and forth. You guys should really try talking to older people sometimes. Like anyone over the age of 40. It would cure you, I swear. Family doesn't count. Go to a local Lutheran church's coffee hour and chat with the old ladies. There's a shit ton of reasons for this, by the way. One, because a lot of young queer people have drawn an us versus them line in their heads where it's the queer community versus anyone born before 2000, which is inherently harmful to older queer people. Two, because a lot of the time, if you have anxiety for the future, talking to someone who went through it already helps. I felt like shit for not going to college until a 60-year-old man with a doctorate told me it was the biggest waste of time on earth. 3, because I refuse to believe most of you have ever spoken to anyone not completely poisoned by TikTok or Twitter. Touch grass and talk to someone who remembers payphones. You guys know that you are allowed to like characters who suck in canon, right? You guys know that you don't have to ignore the worst parts of a character to like them, right? You guys know that liking a shitty character as they are doesn't mean that you condone their behavior, right? Right? You guys know that you can just enjoy fiction, right? I'd like to add, you are allowed to like badly written characters as well. You can enjoy any fiction you want. I truly hate the word unalive. There are so many other euphemisms that fictional Italian mobsters worked so hard to provide you with, and you just ignore them. Sleepin' with the fishes, cashed in their chips, 6 feet under, kicked the bucket, pushing up daisies, taken a dirt nap, beefed it mega hard, kicked the oxygen habit, pining for the fjords, croaked, wasted, bit the dust, got myrtleized, yeed his last haw, closing her eyes for an extended period of time, went to live at the big farm, presently hunting down Reagan. She's rigging her mortise, turning into plants, rolling in the deep. He earned a living, but now he's living in an urn. She's denaturing. Off to join the skeleton war. Beautiful compilation from Orc Sign Language. I really like how many of the world's most iconic structures and places are just right next to some of the most mundane stuff imaginable. For example, Stonehenge is right next to a busy road. The pyramids of Giza are at the outskirts of Cairo. Niagara Falls are part of the town of the same name. And Agrippa's Pantheon is crammed inside downtown Rome. It's just so interesting to notice.